What up guys, welcome back to the channel. So in the last episode we removed the engine on the C35 and we did the rear main seal and then also the oil pan gasket at the very end. So now it is time for me to kind of start going through the engine and removing some of the stuff, and really the goal for me is to reseal it, put on some new gaskets, make it look a lot better, and also just kind of clean it up as much as I can, kind of bit on a budget too, like being cost effective. I don't want to put a lot of money into this engine just because I plan on Jay-Z swapping in the future. 1J, best engine in the world. But I am going, like the plan is still to drift this car, like that's the whole purpose of this car. So one of the little things that I'm going to do is actually head studs. I got ARP head studs. That's gonna help, and you know, last thing I want to do while abusing the car is blowing the head gasket or the, you know, the head lifting. So that's on the list for things. And then I also ordered a new, I think it's VCT solenoid, is what it's called. It is filled with oil, it's leaking, it shouldn't be doing that. So that's on the way. Another thing I really want to do is, I don't know how this turbo is. So my plan is to pull it off today and just check it. I might send it out for a rebuild, refresh, new seals and everything, clean it up. And then I plan on start pulling the intake manifold. I am gonna stay with the stock intake manifold, but it's just so ugly and I hate that it crosses over. You know, it's not a front facing intake manifold like on my C33, but I can at least try and make it look better. I'm thinking about just getting it powder coated, cleaned up, and I do have a set of new valve covers with the timing covers out for powder coating right now. See how this goes. Hopefully no broken bolts, nothing that strips, none of that. Usually I'm very, very careful, but there are some bolts that I'm looking at right now on the turbo that, I mean, you could tell this turbo's never been pulled, so a little corroded and stuff. I'm just gonna be as careful as I can. Let's start. Alright, so I have to stop here because I did not think this was going to give me the most trouble taking off on this engine, and it was like it was bonded or melted on there, and man, that sucked to take off. It took a while, but definitely gonna need a new one of those. So should be all good now to start pulling the turbo. So this isn't my first time taking off an RB25 turbo, unfortunately, but just so you guys know, this drain line right here, I believe this is coolant, and the upper is coolant as well, and then this is the oil drain right there. This is a 24, so it took me a bit to find that out the first time I had to pull an RB turbo, but 24 socket is what you need. pulled off that heat shield. Not gonna lie, I'm a little bit scared of pulling off the exhaust manifold, because some of these bolts, it's like the bottom ones are good and then the top ones just get, man, they look worse and worse. There's 4 right now that I'm worried about, but I guess I gotta get this off because I want to clean this engine up and replace the gasket. So the hot side's completely stripped down. The exhaust manifold sucked. There was one I was struggling with that you can't really get like a socket on, so you had to do it with a wrench. But because of how far down it was, I actually used my jack handle as a pry bar on the wrench and just slowly turned it. Didn't break anything, so that's a big W, and I'm really excited because this is just gonna look 10 times better, peace of mind, and just aesthetically. So now it's time to start on the cold side. The intake manifold, I plan on pulling it off, and fuck man, this is such like, I think RBs look really good when they have like a front facing intake manifold and all of that, but when they don't, it's just a jungle of mess. Like, so I think my approach, I've never taken the intake manifold off on an RB, is I'm gonna start off with the IACV, get this off, and then just kind of dig my way around and see what I'll have to take off. I'm trying to do as little disassembly as possible, but I don't think that's gonna be the case. So that wasn't too bad. It's just so much to undo, but it came off pretty easily. There's a couple that were a little bit tricky that I went up with at an angle to get them off, but pretty happy. I think I made a lot of progress today. Here's the intake manifold. I'm gonna strip it down and everything. So pretty much this right here is all gonna get powder coated, cleaned up. And then I'll be cleaning the block and painting it. And I'm excited once my valve covers and all of that is done and ready. A couple of things I have to do, which would be water pump in here that's leaking. Hopefully nothing here in the timing's really leaking or the front main seal is leaking, but we'll see. next video hopefully should be, once all my parts are in, is getting it all cleaned up and assembled. I do have my surgery here within like the next 2 weeks. I don't know how like everything's gonna fall into the timeline, and more than likely like this car will be running after my eye surgery just because of the wait times on parts and all of that. If you guys made it this far, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys have a great day, great night, whatever. I'll see you guys next time.